Hi guys, it's Muffin. Okay, I think we're going to learn about patterns today. I got a really small one, and I got a huge one, which I like doing. I'm a big fan of the big, huge ones that take months to do. Always have been, as they're more stunning when you're done. So anyways, let's bring you over to the first one. You can kind of tell what it is just by the pattern. Little tiny color sheet. Only a couple colors there. And this one, I don't have to modify at all. I don't have to cut it and kind of put it together or anything like that. With these bigger ones, I tend to want to tape them together. Cut them up and tape them together so they're all one piece that I can work off of. Because if I work on it like this, it's kind of hard. I have to keep pulling different papers out and trying to find where I'm at. And so that's why I put it together. It's just another thing that works for me. And look at this color sheet for this one. Oh my God. That's going to take me a while. Anyways, so I'm going to start cutting this and putting it together, but let me show you how to do that. Now I have it in order so that when I cut it and tape it together, it'll be in the right position. If you see right here, this gray, this darker gray section, that's overlap. So what that means is when I cut these pieces, I tend to leave the overlap. That way I know where it's at, and I just like to do that. So when I cut it, I'm going to cut it on the very edge. I'm going to cut it over on this edge because it's going to be taped to this one. And then, obviously there's an overlap on this side too. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and I'll show you once I've cut them out what they look like. So then we can start on the next step. And voila! You have your cut up pattern ready to be taped together. You'll see you have another palette that tells you your colors and according to your symbols on the side here. I don't really rely on that. You can cut it off if you want. I just to do less cutting, I don't bother with it. But you have your own paper sheet here. You can see all your colors and all your symbols perfectly fine there. But this one, when you put it together, it's going to cover a couple of those. So let's forego worrying about that. You can cut it off if you want. If you want to leave it on, you can leave it on. Just focus on your sheet being over there. Okay. Next, I leave the overlap on. The reason why I do that is just because it's kind of easy to kind of slide it on and put it to where I need it so I can tape it. You don't have to do that. You can cut the overlap off if you want, that gray area, the darker gray. You don't need it because you're not going to stitch it. The only thing that's going to be stitched is the light areas, the lighter areas, not the grayed areas. And you'll find that a lot of this stuff is my preference. It's basically what I've learned to teach myself to do, what helps me, what works for me. You'll find your own way, and you'll find what you like to do different, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Anyways, I'm going to tape these together, and I'll show you what comes out of that. And let me apologize for my horrible taping skills, because I know I'm going from landscape to portrait to... I'll work on that. And we are taped together. Now, I may have made that seem a little easy to do. Taping these are never that easy. Because obviously when you tape them together, you can't tape on the top side here. Unless it's on spots you're not going to stitch. And I'll explain why I'm not going to stitch that. The reason why you can't tape on top of these is because you want to color them in when you've finished the stitch so you know where you're at and what you've done and what you haven't done. So once you get this together, which I know it's tough because I struggle with it too every time, but to me it's worth the struggle to have this one piece and make it easier so I always know where I'm working at any time. So the reason why I don't stitch this area is because if you notice the symbol, it's a square, right? It's a blacked out square. If you come to our thing over here, our little key, you can see right there the square is black, 310 black. Now, what I recommend, because I made this pattern, I made it on a program on my computer. I made this pattern and I made it for a black cross stitch fabric. So what that means is the fabric is going to be black and all these black stitches will be useless. So you don't need to stitch those. The whole point of using a black fabric is that you can basically have this image kind of pop out of it. That's why I like doing like images on black cross stitch pattern, fabric. It's because it makes it come alive. It makes it kind of pop out of the fabric, which I like doing. I found that very enjoyable. I can show you some of the stuff that I do. I like how it pops out. Pops out. Yeah, I know. They're kind of put together kind of stupid. I got to frame them and iron them and everything else. But that's, work in progress. And let's see, what else can I tell you? Well, when I start this, I'll definitely make another video for you guys. I'll show you how I start it, how you center it, how you start the first thread. It shouldn't be too long from now when I start this. I am working on probably like 3 other cross stitches right now because I'm crazy like that. But yeah, so I'll definitely come up with that soon. Also, I wanted to kind of show you guys that you don't need to be perfect with this whole taping this together thing, because I know I'm not perfect. You could always ask for help. If you see, like, there's those boxes that are there, that kind of 10 by 10 boxes. That's a good way to kind of try and line up as best as possible. But even you can see that mine aren't completely perfect. But that's okay, as long as it's close enough where you can tell where the stitch goes. But yeah, do your best. Have fun. You don't have to do it this way. This is the way that I do it. This is my preference. You can always do it your own way and have fun with it. I mean, I don't want to sound like Bob Ross, but have fun with it. Sow your happy little trees. And it just feels like an accomplishment when you finish it at the end, because it's such a task. Anyways, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.